Well, I guess the question is which lender, the first one or Countrywide? The first one, I don't even have words for it. I would say it's the most violating thing I've ever gone through in my life. Because the truth is that to these people, and one of the things, and I should tell you this, that I said in my letter to Henry Waxman was I said, you know, there's an algorithm here, an equation. And the equation is opportunity times greed equals criminality. And that's where we are in our economic situation in our society. It seems rampant. A Ponzi scheme, it's everywhere now. I know people who were directly affected by Bernard Madoff, and the guy that did this to us, you know, obviously took his cues from the experts, and he learned well. And I would say, if I learned anything, it's you really have to trust your instincts. You know, don't think for a minute that if your gut is telling you something that you're feeling something that is somehow neurotic or inaccurate. 9 times out of 10, it's accurate. This guy destroyed my life. I'm left with nothing, and in a short sale, you are left with nothing because every single penny goes to the bank, and it's going to Countrywide. I would say in terms of Countrywide, would I call it a scam? Maybe. Not like the first lender, clearly, but, and interestingly enough, you know, we just found out in the news that Bank of America, you know, had an actually good turn this year. Yeah, I can understand why. I'm sure I contributed to that. You don't feel human. After a situation like this, you feel that, you know, you are dispensable, that people can look at you and not see a family, not see a person who has worked and earned money and had a dream of building a home. We will be out of this house in June. I don't know where we're going to be. I'm without work right now, and I'm trying to keep my daughter in school. My daughter is 16 and a half. We'll be going to college in a year and a half. And I don't have any answers. I don't have any solutions. I don't know what my next day is going to bring. And even people have said to me, as beautiful as our house is, have you enjoyed living there? The answer is no. Because when you're living in a situation like this, it's almost like you're waiting for the axe to fall from what corner of the room. When? You don't know when you're going to have to leave. You know, you don't know when there's going to be a marshal at your house. It's not a way to live. And the family that is going to buy the house are young, and they're lovely and kind, and I'm trying to be magnanimous here, but if I have to pass the torch, at least it's to a family that will appreciate, you know, everything that I've done in terms of what I designed and what I tried to build with great adversity. You know, I think that his heart is in the right place, but clearly what he put forth in regard to families in foreclosure was not going to affect us, because he made it very clear it was people who were beginning this process. We're in the thick of it, and we who are in the thick of it are not going to be affected by these policies at all. You know, I also said in my letter to Henry Waxman, if you are a lower income family, you can be represented in this climate. If you are a wealthy family, you can be represented. But if you are a middle-class family such as we are, there is a rug for you to be swept under. And unfortunately, those policies bespeak that. in terms of where we are in this process, there's no hope for us. His platform was hope. I appreciate the fact that you can't, wide spectrum try to solve these problems in one fell swoop, and I sympathize with that, but I think I would speak for anybody in this situation. I feel like I'm drowning, and I am. I'm going to be 53 years old, and my only consolation, and it isn't really a consolation, but I try to sort of put that forward, is I have a cousin who's 88 years old who was taken by Madoff, and he is left with nothing except his Social Security. And at least I have the ability to work where he's 88 years old, he doesn't. And that's my only consolation, really. So I'd like to see the administration look at this in a broader perspective and from a completely different angle. What that angle is, I can't articulate really, because it would be very subjective for me personally, and I would need to look at more statistics for people who have gone through what I've gone through, or people somewhere between the initial policy of the people who are going to be affected by that, who are just beginning this process, versus where I am, which is really almost at the end of the process. So I think HUD has to take a greater role here. I think there needs to be special committees. I think there needs to be investigations of how these banks proceeded. It's all one. One begets the other. It's not a separate issue. So, I hope people don't have to go through this, and I know they are. And I hope, with the good faith that I have in him, our president, that, we will get to it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be one of the people affected with any kind of, recourse or help or... The status of our lawsuit is, I don't know what the status is right now, because we're now on the creditors list, so we're really kind of dependent on the bankruptcy. I know that there's a grand jury investigation. The FBI, when they interviewed us, told us so. It was money laundering and Ponzi. So, Countrywide, we provided them with our docket number for the lawsuit. We provided them with everything. We provided them with the depositions. They did not care. They did not care. There is no reality for them in terms of us being scammed and swindled. They didn't care. It doesn't mean anything. How you arrive at the point that we are doesn't matter to the banks at all. Your personal story has no significance to them whatsoever. It kind of bespeaks what I said before. There's no humanity. You're a number. Yeah. You're a paper trail that they'd like to get rid of. That's really about it. And how they do it, they're not concerned about. And why you arrived on their doorstep, if you will, doesn't matter to them. And perhaps it doesn't even matter even that much more, because essentially the person that swindled us really was kind of one of them, It's a club.